All right, everybody, here we go. We are at week 12 of the NFL here. We got another solo run by me, of course, and we're going to go ahead and power through the slate like we normally do. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing going. It is a Saturday night. It's been a busy week for your boy here, and so for the other guys as well, as they're out doing their holiday, getting ready for holidays, traveling through life, and all that fun jazz. So yeah, hopefully everyone has a good time and everything. But back like what I was saying, we got some NFL action to cover here. And this is Saturday. So that means, yes, I do have a college football game on. We got the Texas A&M and Auburn game. And on the other half of things, we also had an NFL game already played. When the Thursday night football game, the iconic snow game. Let's go ahead and cover that one real quick because I was wrong on the call on that one. Me and Christian were enjoying ourselves playing some Call of Duty and stuff. And that was just, we were talking about the game and well, I thought the Steelers weren't going to do much. And Christian, of course, being the aficionado that he is in the AFC realm of the AFC North, he kind of got that one right. So shout out to Christian for getting that game right and everything. And then once again, proving me wrong in the AFC North. Back-to-back weeks, actually, because I was wrong about the Ravens game as well. So and that was the reason why I was picking the Steelers, by the way, was because I thought the performance they had against the Ravens was pretty sound. But I turn around and it looks like the problems that they had with not scoring any touchdowns was a little prevalent at first, especially when you add in the factor of snow. But that fourth quarter was pretty exciting, especially the comeback that they mounted to make that game interesting. And the Browns. The real story here was being able to stand off that comeback and even though they did lose it for a second, they actually still found a way to get the job done. Jameis Winston, man, he had his moment, like he said on his post-game interview. I mean, that was just an iconic performance in the snow for him. So it's pretty amazing, especially when you consider the fact that he came from Florida State. So, he probably was never expecting to have an iconic snow game, and here he is in Cleveland, keeping their season, I guess, at this point sneaky. Um, Chances of them getting into the playoff hunt is probably slim to none, but at least they can go around and keep ruining other people's day and everything. So I guess they'll be back into their ankle biting form. We got a little bit of that's gonna be something that I have to figure out maybe going on to next week. I do have a little mystery board here just to spice things up. I did not put them on it because that one I'm still a little unsure about even myself. So before I can even assign myself the mystery, I gotta at least get a good feel for what I'm about to get myself into. But yeah, I was about to say there's that game was pretty amazing. For those of you out there that saw the ending as well, I thought that was pretty interesting about George Pickens once again having his moment at the end of the game and his post game feelings about his rivalry. So it's always fun with the AFC North, man. So it's very interesting that he keeps that spice there, with a game that didn't really need it at first, and he just threw it on at the end. What could I say? Like I said, that keeps it a little bit more iconic. So, all right, let's go into now the actual Sunday slate here. Um, Hang on one second here. All right. All right, there we go. We got the Vikings at the Bears. Wow, we're kicking it off right off the bat here with the Vikings, and they're actually the lowest. It's the lowest line of the 1 o'clock slot here. Vikings at the Bears. Bears are a 3.5 point underdog. Believe it or not, reason why I wanted to throw this game out there was because we got right off the bat a little bit of a challenge going on here. One of the guys picked against me and everything, and I already preemptively made my pick so I can make this go by a little bit more smoother, of course. So I went with the Vikings, as you would probably obviously know by now, 12 weeks into this season, or yeah, you should probably know by now. And if ever I have found a way to get video on here, wearing my Vikings beanie right now. So it all ties in. But anyways, going with the Vikings, it's just such a concerning spot. I'm not going to lie. Some of these conference divisional games here, a little interesting. Um, but like I was saying, the Vikings here really got to be careful. I mean, the Bears looked like their offense was getting their footing a little bit underneath them with their new offensive coordinator. We'll see. how that turns out in a rivalry game. Usually you can get your guys a little bit more motivated for games like that. So a little concerned, not gonna lie, especially the Vikings, where they're always playing a little bit. They know how to put their foot off the gas at the wrong time. And, with a team like the Bears that are hungry for a win right now, it could come back and get us. It could really come back and get us. I mean, that's the problem with this right now, guys, is we're one game behind the Lions, and every other given year, this would have been in the bag for the Vikings. We probably would have been one of the more premier, maybe one of the more top teams. But no, of course, we got the Lions. We'll go and get into their game here in a little bit, but with the Vikings, they got to keep pace. It's insane. And then when you have the Packers behind you trailing, which is again insane that all three of these teams are doing so good. And then to think that the last time the Bears won a game was back in Europe, it's it's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's really crazy. Um, because remember, everyone was thinking the Bears was going to be able to find, well, at least I thought it was a good, very strong chance that we would see the whole NFC North probably playing in the playoffs, but the Bears have found a way to deflate themselves. And this is a game where they can get themselves some more energy. Like I said, they had a heartbreaker against the Packers. They'll probably feel like they deserve that win, and they'll probably be even more hungry in this divisional matchup. So it's a very concerning spot for the Vikings. But at the same time, still got a solid team. Like I said last week, we just got to keep believing in KOC and Brian Flores and see how we do with all that. Given, it's the fact that we're playing as Caleb Williams for the first time too. I'm not gonna lie. It's always interesting when we have to play against the new quarterback. So what can I say? I'm a little nervous, but at the same time, we're playing really good football. I mean, yeah, it's been against the AFC South. So I don't know. Maybe this can be a little bit more of a wake up game for us just because it's a rivalry and we can get up for it as well. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least, and hoping that it doesn't do the same for the Bears. So, all right. Got the Vikings, 3.5 point favorites on the road. To the next game here. Looks like the lines just honestly keep building up. Let's just go ahead. I'm going to try and organize my games here to do that. And so we're just going to go with the next one here. We got the Bucks. Bucks going to New York after the quarterback exchange. The Giants are 5.5 point underdogs at home with Tommy DeVito. And I have a strong feeling we might even see Drew Lock, depending on how bad it gets. Because as you can hear from my tone, I'm going with the Bucks here. It's nothing because of the quarter. Well, it has partly to do with the quarterback change and everything, but regardless of even if they had Daniel Jones in, I probably would have picked the Bucks with this line. Um, for me, it's just personally how the Bucks play. They play hungry every week. In this game, they just probably feel like this is one that they have to win. That's gotta win. It's been so heart crushing, but at the same time, the Falcons have been slipping up. So you're still in this, you're still in your divisional hunt. Um, who knows? Maybe the Commanders. I doubt they're gonna mess up this week. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but who knows? Maybe the Commanders might slip a little bit more and open things up so you can get a slightly better chance for a wild card as well. Maybe one of the NFC North teams take a dive, but yeah, right now just worry about trying to win the division, and this is one that will get you right back in the win column. And the way the Bucks have been playing, it's just been so brutal and so much heart and everything. Like I've been saying it every week that they're going to be coming close in every single one of these games. I feel like the last couple of weeks they've been listed as underdogs or barely maybe a coin toss of a winner here. This one, I just feel like, especially with Mike Evans coming back now, questionable, but I'm as a fantasy owner, I'm a very strong believer in hoping that he comes back. So I'm hoping that here we're going to see the Bucks come back a little bit more juice, especially with Mike Evans coming back. Hopefully it's a healthy comeback for God's sakes. They gave him the rest. Hopefully it's enough rest because last time he rushed himself out on the field, got the touchdown, got hurt, for those of you that don't remember. And yeah. So Giants, it's gonna be an interesting game because they changed the quarterback for their fan base. I'll give you that. But besides outside of it, good luck. I feel like this is still gonna be another rough one. You do have a chance though. I gotta find a way to get this thing out on a Thursday because yeah, we got 3 games and they're gonna be one of the ones to play on Thanksgiving, even though that game's gonna be disgusting. Listen. Oh, you know what? No, it wouldn't be disgusting. We gotta turn it around. It's gonna be a very fun watch. That's for sure. It'll be definitely a fun watch. I hope it's really fun, for God's sakes. I hope they actually just let it air out. Don't be simple, it's Thanksgiving. Like actually treat it like it's your team's Super Bowl a little bit here. So at least that's what I'm going to be going into for these guys. All right, on to the next one. We got the Patriots going to Miami. The Dolphins are 7-point favorites. I'm going with the Dolphins here, mostly because I feel like the way the Patriots, if they do have Drake May air it out, Dolphins defense will probably be prepared for that. Questionable at the running back position still. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, I think it's consistency at this point that we're questioning. Um, if he's even playing, actually, to be quite honest. I don't know what's going on. I don't know off the top of my head what's going on with the Patriots running back room. It's one of the things that you can't trust this year, but you can trust a developing Drake May. That's something that you can trust. So um it's going to be very interesting here for the Patriots if they can find a way to break the losing streak. I'm trying to find a way for them to shovel it around, and the only way I see them doing that is if the Dolphins take another slip up here while they're trying to get reconnected on offense. But it's starting to look like they're getting their pacing. They're starting to get the wins together. It looks like there might be a chance for them to still make a run here for the playoffs. I mean, that's how just that last seed always makes it interesting. So it's getting to that range. So, oh man, they just missed that one. As a Texas fan here watching A&M struggle in Auburn, I gotta say, man, it puts a smile on my face, but also still a little concerning because if we lose to a 3-loss Texas A&M team next week, it's gonna be heartbreaking. So especially the way we played this week against Kentucky, we gotta just get it right and get things. Hopefully, we just take care of business. And I think that's what the Dolphins are gonna do here. They're gonna probably go in and take care of business. All right. Up next, we got the Titans at the Texans. The Texans 7.5-point favorites. I marked this game because the AFC South rivalries have been, especially when it comes to the Texans and Will Levis, he actually makes these games a little entertaining. They go down to the wire. At least, in that last quarter, he's going to be airing it out usually. And last year, I'm pretty sure this was a bit of a shootout. I hope that's that same energy that he comes with it on this one. So the only reason why this was tough for me was just coming into this game with that in mind and with and everything. So I'm just going to say though, it just doesn't. I don't know what's going on with the Titans, man. It just does like you want to put them out as a fun underdog time to time, but it just sometimes for me it just doesn't sound like a good idea yet. So sadly, I'm gonna have to swallow the points here. I'm gonna take the Texans. Um, I think their defense finally woke up a little bit at that last against the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe they're gonna come in and now that I mean it's not like it was a primetime game, they won the Battle of Texas. So hopefully they turn it around here, get the Titans wrapped up, and just win this is gonna be a divisional game that they gotta take care of business on. It's a lot of points, but like I said, these shootout kind of games, maybe they'll come back and backlash on some backlash on Will Levis on that one. And who knows? Brian Callahan has shown to change quarterbacks to Mason Rudolph at times. Maybe that's going to happen. Who knows at this rate? That's the thing. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Titans. And it's not like they're doing enough to get your attention. And the crazy thing is, my team just played this team. And that's how I feel about the Titans. So sorry, guys. It's still weird. All right, going on to the Chiefs here. Chiefs at the Panthers. This is a fun one. I feel like a lot of people are on the same wave as me. That small 10% of America that think the Panthers are going to come in here, cover this game because Chiefs are probably going to. Everyone thinks the Chiefs are going to be coming in, raging, rampaging, and everything like that because they lost against the Bills. To be quite honest with you. I'm sitting here thinking that if if the Panthers can actually do this thing and keep it close, I'll be pretty hyped. I'm not gonna lie. They're coming off of a bye. They got another week of game planning. They know what they're about to get into. More importantly, getting a fresh running back as well. I think the thing is here is the Chiefs also getting their running back as well. They're getting Isaiah Pacheco. Um, so it's I'm going with the Panthers, guys. I just think that they're going to keep this game interesting, especially the way the Chiefs offense has been a little questionable. Of course, they showed up last week against the Bills in a very big spot moment game, and they had their moments, but will they actually end up playing down? That's something that we've seen a little bit with their offense, that it's been a little bit of it still looks like they play down sometimes. So obviously they win the game, but yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers here just for the fun of it and for the and everything. Try and see if they can cover that 10.5 points. Chiefs have been struggling also when it comes to covering games. So give me the Panthers. Keep it interesting, you know? All right. To the last, nope, we got two more 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock games actually, and another Auburn touchdown. That's why my attention has been struggling, folks. This Auburn touchdown. This Auburn team, man, they're up 2 scores on the first quarter against Texas A&M. Man, the SEC is a brutal beast. All right, we got next. Oh man, these last two games, folks, I'm not gonna lie. All these last three games, I'll probably all four of these, all of them from the ever since the Bucks game. Maybe this has all been a rough one, a rough go. But especially for a lot of these fan bases. This next game is obviously another big line. The second, they're both the last, these last one, the last one was also 10.5. This one is too. It's the Cowboys at the Commanders. Commanders are 10.5 point favorites. Um, yeah, sounds about right. Not even gonna hesitate on this one, guys. Um, yeah, it's a rivalry, sure, but look, Cooper Rush, he was airing it out. Maybe that's going to be their, if that's their approach, maybe it'll be a little bit much for the Commanders to keep up. Maybe if it works against the Commanders, it'll be a little bit much for them to keep up with, especially just because there's been some concerns with the offense. Uh, but at the end of the day, got your running back. And that's where the Washington offense also is very strong at. Their running game is still really good. Dallas is still shown to be a little susceptible to the run game. I kind of want to go with I kind of want to go with that the Commanders and the points here, guys. That like I said, the only way I see Dallas actually keeping this interesting is if they find a way to air it out and it works on the Commanders. And then that's the thing, they got to get the jump on the Commanders and it has to work on them. And the same thing. So they got to get the jump and probably play 4 quarter football, folks, because the Commanders offense, yes, it is struggling, but you can't rely on your defense if you're the Dallas Cowboys. So they got to hope for a shootout and hope that the Commanders just can't keep up on this one. Outside of that, I'm going to go with the public here and go with the Commanders 10.5. All right, last game of the 1 o'clock slot for real now this time. It is going to be the Lions going to Indianapolis. The Colts are 7.5 point underdogs. Anthony Richardson was able to bring them out of the mud there in New York, I'm pretty sure. And now he's going to have to come out in a big spot against the number one team in the conference for the NFC at least, and really show the world pretty much what he's really about. I mean, yeah, you had a great comeback game against the Jets. Don't get me wrong, that's impressive. Really put the nail in the coffin on their season there, that says a lot in itself because of the amount of preseason hype that they had. Um, go forward here with the Colts, and now you're going with the Lions. It's if you're Anthony Richardson, this is gonna be one of the hardest. This is probably one of the hardest games you're about to play. The Colts are probably going to play pedal to the metal all the way throughout. They're not gonna let you do what you want to do. If you're the Colts here, I'm just trying to think of a way. How can you beat the Lions? I would take notes from whatever Baker did, and that was you got to do it all. I think Baker did a little bit of not only just airing it out to his good receiving core. He's probably Hall of Fame level receiving core when they were healthy, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Something that the Colts don't have, might I add. So you're going to have to find a way to air it out, or somehow, I mean, yeah, the Lions have been taking beatings. They've been losing valuable pieces on the defense. Maybe you check them a little bit with the run game and everything because you do have Jonathan Taylor. However, outside of that, it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm very surprised this line's only 7.5. I'm taking the Lions here with the easy pick. Should be 10.5, just like the other two games we just talked about. And that, folks, is the 1 o'clock slot. And now for the 4 o'clock slot, we got to kick things off. We might as well just stick with the theme of building up, I guess, and everything. So we'll start with probably going to actually start the last one out of the 4 o'clock games, of course, because it's a complete West Coast game. It's going to be the Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are in a toss-up here. This is the closest line of the week. It is 1.5 underdogs for the Seattle Seahawks. This was one of the toughest games that I picked on the slate here outside of course, the fun Titans and Texans game. I thought this one would be also a very interesting one because the Cardinals, you're in a spot here where you can start setting a trend. You're in a spot here where you can actually get some ground in the division because with the other matchups throughout your division as well, which we'll get to here in a little bit, there's a strong chance for you to get a win ahead again. I think that'll put them 2 wins finally above everybody if things go in their favor, which I'm here saying it might happen. There's only one little caveat. I hate to be a little basic for those of you that are mind readers, but we'll get to that later. But for the Cardinals here, the reason why I thought this was interesting is because Geno Smith did pull off an amazing comeback against the 49ers. He at San Francisco. Now he gets a chance to do it at home and handle another divisional opponent. I mean, this is a big spot moment for him. This is a spot where you kind of, for them, reassert yourself because they lost a lot of ground. They were looking like they were going to be a little questionable already out the gate, in my opinion. But now it's looking like maybe they're still going to be one of those sneaky teams. They're going to be in the hunt for a little bit. That last spot for the NFC wild card, though, it's the Commanders right now. The Commanders have a lot of wins, guys, compared to the NFC West. So it's almost like it's going to be whoever's going to win the division. And guess what? Sometimes when you're going by who's the hungriest, or in this case, even has a little bit more experience, it might be the Seattle Seahawks against the Cardinals here because they have made this kind of push before, and especially in this type of situation. So it just depends on who can make a run. And that's what I was saying. It's going to be whoever wins this game, they'll get a little bit of a trend setting going for them. For me, I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cardinals. It's going to be a tough, tough, tough toss up here because, like I said, I would not doubt the fact that the Seattle Seahawks find a way with Geno Smith and that offense and the defense likewise. They're still both teams are very solid on both sides of the ball. I mean, very similar. Not going to lie, very similar. It's just who do you trust more? In my case, I'm trusting the Cardinals defense a little bit more. Jonathan Gannon knows his guys a little bit more. He's kept this team hungry for a whole year. They've been playing competing football for a long time. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Um, all right, to the next game. Like I said, we're going to keep on building up. And in this case, it's going to be the one that isn't a divisional rivalry. It's going to be the 49ers at the Packers. We're going to go with these guys because the line went up, actually, due to some news that Brock Purdy is not playing this game. So the line went from 3 into the Packers. Packers were already favored. They were favored by 3. Now they're favored by 5.5. So it looks like even the betting world is starting to see that. It's probably going to be tough pickings for the 49ers once again here. The injury bug has been brutal to the 49ers, and it's something that I've been saying for the past 2 seasons on this goddamn podcast. But this is the year where it finally happened. And it's the lack of depth. They have superstar talent all over the place for sure. But it's just the fact that who's the next man up is just has been a little bit of a question for the 49ers. In this case, the Packers, they got through their injury bugs. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still cycling through receivers, sadly, but at the end of the day, for the most part, Packers are pretty healthy. They're probably going to come into this game. The only thing you're sitting here saying, can the 49ers defense give them a challenge? I don't think so. They lost, like, this is the third year where they lost a coordinator on the defensive side, or the third time and everything during this Shanahan regime. It's just been This time around, it's just been a little bit more rough. And of course, like I said, with the injuries and everything, I'm just going with the Packers. It just seems like a more sound pick here, especially with 5.5, especially with the line going up, to be quite honest. And the last game is a game of heartbreak and a game of turning around and turning the page and saying something new. It is me giving up on the Raiders as they're hosting the Broncos and they are 5.5 point underdogs. Well, folks, it was fun while it lasted. Um, Antonio Pierce, I rooted for you, man. I actually thought that there was going to be a chance. I had you as my over-under, I'm pretty sure. Challenged Colby on that one. Not looking good. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. So going with the Broncos here, mostly because the Bo Nix thing has been surprising to say the least. Surprisingly great. It was I was about to say I said that to Caleb Williams a few weeks back that he had a little bit of the Tebow bug going for him. Not anymore because of his latent struggles. And the Broncos here, you don't have a Tebow. No, you don't. You got somebody that's actually been battle tested for a long time in college, who probably finally is getting his bearings in the NFL. The thing here is, will those college flashes show again in the NFL where he does have those moments where it's just, oh man, Bo Nix, yeah, he can do it on a week to week basis, but man, on that for every blue moon, it is just rough. Are we going to see that, or has Sean Payton actually found a way to manage everything to the point where it's just asking for the, oh my goodness, another interception? Texas A&M. They're going to make this last game against Texas very interesting because they're now going to be, it's 14-0, and they just threw a pick while they were on a pretty solid drive for the most part. And they were still the first quarter. So either we're going to have an insane comeback or they're cooked. They're going to win everything. But, anyways, Broncos, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. And the only reason why I'm saying it's heartbreaking, I have to turn my back and turn the page and all that jazz for the Raiders. Gardner Minshew. I mean, let me and Aiden O'Connell for that call. But it's all the things that I've said at the beginning of the year. I had a little bit of faith for the Raiders here, especially for Max Crosby. I'm glad that he didn't get traded to the Lions. Let's clear that up real quick. But also, I'm a little disappointed that the guy he is. I am glad that he is a very committed guy. I hope he's a one helmet guy. To be quite honest, I hope he is a one helmet guy. So. Hopefully he stakes for the Raiders at this point. So, and he at least gets to see one more playoff run. I would love for him to make one more playoff push. But in this time of age, it might be pretty challenging with the Chiefs and with this kid, Broncos, and can't wait to talk about the Chargers. It's going to be very interesting. But all right, that's the 4 o'clock. Those are the 3 4 o'clock games. We got the prime time games now. For prime time, we got the kick things off for Sunday night football. All the guys have picked this game for their locks one way or another. I'll share the breakdown later. It is going to be the Eagles at the Rams. The Rams 2.5 point underdogs. I, however, am going to be the tiebreaker because, like I said, everyone went a different way on this game. I'm going with the Rams. I feel like this is going to be a good test here for the Eagles defense. I mean, we all know the Rams are going to be out guns blazing. It's going to be Matthew Stafford once again putting up a fight like as best as he can. He's got his receivers. We all know the story. And guess what? Same thing for the Eagles. We know your offense and what you're all about. It's not like there's going to be any surprise. But the thing is, they do got a little bit more options than the Rams have. And the Rams defense isn't the greatest, but it has been not the worst. It's the reason why they're still competing in their division, in the division where it's very interesting, and they got the best of the Vikings. So I'll give them that respects as well. So going with the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams. And if they do, it'll spice things up once again in the NFC. So I love a little chaos. Like I said, both teams coming in with very similar vibes. The only thing is, yeah, the Eagles probably have the benefit of the doubt when it comes to their defense, but you're playing the offense here. You're playing the offense, not the other team's defense. So, and the Rams offense, one of the best passing offenses when you have your weapons. So go ahead, give me the Rams. Keep this game as a very fun primetime Sunday night football game. And last of the week, it is going to be the Harbaugh Bowl. Very disappointed that I do not have Christian on the air here, but nonetheless, he's dodging some talk here because I already gave him a little bit of a hard time when we were playing Call of Duty. But at the other end of it, the Ravens have to go to LA now after a tough loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the Steelers didn't even score a touchdown and they lost and they won the game. Could that same thing happen again against the Ravens, where it's just missed opportunities here? Whether that's through Justin Tucker, just maybe miss timely fumbles. Um, it's just something that you got to be concerned about when, especially when you have a coach on the other end who's going to be living off of those same turnovers, just like how your team usually does. You're going to be, I was talking to Christian about this. There's a lot of returning staff that went from the Ravens to the Chargers. So it's going to be very similar in many ways in this game. It's going to be very fun. So I feel like this one for the Chargers to be 3-point underdogs, I feel like this one could have rightfully so been just like the Seattle Seahawks and the Cardinals. Could have been a 1.5 point toss up. It would have been a lot more fun to pick as well, in my opinion, if they had a 1.5 point toss up. But I feel like with the way Herbert's been playing, it's getting me those flashes of a couple of years ago where he was just out cooking, man. He was just out there slinging it finally. It was that mid-season form where he finally was making that push, and you're over there saying, man, there go the Chargers. They're going to be one of those teams. How is Justin Herbert not in these quarterback talks? Oh, wait, maybe it's because of this and this, and everyone's going to have their reasons. This time around, though, he's still limited at the wide receiver position, and he's still sometimes having to be the guy to chug him along. Don't get me wrong. The Chargers having the Ravens running back core, which is, I think, hilarious in this case with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. But it's going to be interesting to see how much this game really fires up Justin Herbert, especially against Lamar Jackson. That's where it's going to be where it's at because Lamar also had a rough time against the Steelers. Same thing with Derrick Henry. I mean, obviously some questions there, but the Harbaugh Bowl is going to be one to see regardless. So give me the Chargers. I'll take 3 points. If it does come down to the two Texas field goal kickers, might I add you, Cameron Dicker and Justin Tucker playing in the primetime game, might I say, um, it will still be a fun game to see at the end of the day. That means, will it be a fast-paced game? Will be probably the only question I'll have to hold out is how fast will this game be over if it actually starts chugging along, just like how the Steelers Browns game kind of zoomed through the first half and third quarter, kind of. So, all right. There's the week 12 slate, guys. Kind of took my time on that one at the end of the day. Sorry about that. But it was actually not that bad. I got a little bit of flack here from the guy saying, oh, it's a little gross. It's the mid-season grossness. I would like to say, pause for hesitations, folks. It wasn't that bad. Let's go ahead and go check out what we got here for the dues list. I got Christian to send them in this time, so I'm sorry for everyone that had to bear with me on that dues list. I don't know what I was thinking with putting Calvin Ridley on there. Apologies. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Anyways, we're gonna go with Christian sent me Kareem Hunt, Mike Evans on his comeback game. Love it. And oh man, it just might be too good to be true. It's Justin Jefferson. All right. So I don't know what that all adds up to, but I would love to see all three of these guys pull up some. Well, maybe besides Kareem Hunt. Like I said, I'm actually rooting for the Panthers to make this game interesting. And Kareem Hunt scoring in a well, the Panthers are going to be run heavy. So if Kareem Hunt does it, it's just a flex. But at the same time, I said, Pacheco, come on, Pacheco. Maybe you can step in here, give it a little bit more of a spice ball for the dues list, and then Kareem Hunt can still punch it in. Who knows? All right. I'm gonna keep it interesting, folks. I'm not gonna lie. Is it another interception? No, it's just another big play breaking off for Auburn. What? All right. I'm gonna get this straight. I gotta get these locks set up here, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty challenging just because the guys have already picked 6 teams. For the most part, I'm pretty sure I did not give them any. Yeah, I gave myself no breaks. So this is gonna be very interesting. Let's see how we go through here. So here's what we got. We got Colby cooking up with his record of 17 and 16. He put in the Rams, Patriots, and the Bears. Christian sitting at 19 and 14. He has the Bucks, Commanders, and the Lions. So a secret recipe this week is pretty much points. Um, which I don't blame him. It's a good strategy for those games. And then for myself, I'm sitting at 19, 13, and 1. Gotta love the only push of the season actually coming in clutch right now. Um, I'm actually going to go ahead and put myself in a little bit of an interesting spot here, folks. Obviously, got less games to work with, but I still want to keep this interesting. And for me, for the most part, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I'm going to take Dolphins 7 points. Might be a lot, but I think that might be one of the games where could get out of hand pretty fast, pretty easily, especially if the Dolphins really do have that footing on that got the footing of the feeling of the offense going. They're finally getting into rhythm. Maybe they can make that playoff push as mentioned earlier. Um, Going with the Packers. Surprised that no one took the Packers and everything, especially with the news that Brock Purdy isn't playing, which means you're going to have a new guy trying to throw the ball to the receivers. Yeah, you're going to have Kittle back and everything and see how much you can do with that on and everything like that. But I just like the completeness of the Packers in this situation. Hate to say it, hate to do it, but got to put someone on the game that I hate to watch, which I will be probably watching, sadly. Either maybe the other team, maybe the Cardinals will give me something to watch in the Broncos. Maybe they'll fight for my attention. But at the time being, probably going to have to watch the Packers beat the 49ers by 5.5. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and add a primetime game here. The guys went with a primetime spot. I'm going to go ahead and take the primetime spot as well. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers. Yeah, 3 points. I mentioned it earlier. I just mentioned it not too long ago. So give me the Chargers. I'm going to lock that in. And that, folks, is just about the slate and everything like that. So thank you for tuning in as always. Oh, wait. I got to slow down a second. It's time for final thoughts. America's favorite segment, of course. To be quite honest with you, folks, let's see. I got a couple. Obviously, the Wolves still being inconsistent, having trade talks already circle around them about Dante DiVincenzo. Just hasn't looked great, to be quite honest with you. It's been very rough watching the offense. They're arguing, especially when it's sad when you have to say that Rudy was right. So yeah, it's would love to see better, especially when I'm talking about a team that I was looking forward to for the most part, because you never know with the Vikings, of course. That's the worst thing to say. Like the Vikings are doing so good, and they're still a high register team. Even I know it, but you never know. You never know. And I feel like tomorrow will be a great test for that. So that's the NBA, my Minnesota thoughts, of course. One of my other shout outs want to go out would be to baseball. This one goes out to my friend Chandler here. The Reds fan. He just lost Jonathan India. I remember him being very excited. I was actually a fan of India too because of him. So India got traded to the Royals. Hopefully that all works out. I am a Bobby Witt Jr. fan, so I told him, hey, it does suck, but gotta admit, Bobby Witt and John India might be electric, man. You never know. Might could be something fun. Royals on the rise here. So there's baseball. Did a little NBA there. College basketball is in the swing of things, of course. And yeah, man, honestly, very stunned right now. My eyes are very locked into the TV as I'm watching Auburn, 21 points on Texas A&M. Texas A&M had to burn a timeout 10 minutes into the second quarter. So kind of got a drive going there. We'll see what they cook up. But yeah, I was about to say, hopefully Texas is a little concerning. So the whole college football playoff thing is so interesting. Can't wait to do it. I wish there's a moment where I could have the guys come on here and break that down and everything, share our own brackets before they do, the committee does. But at the same time, the committee themselves have been making it interesting just by having certain teams where they are. Just a little quick college football update. The Big 12 still very competitive, I guess you can say in the nice way. Both Colorado lost, and I don't know, did BYU lose again this week? I don't know, but yeah, it's just not looking the cleanest for the Big 12 here. So, and same thing with the SEC, especially if Texas A&M falls to Auburn. I mean, like I said, biggest fear is going to be Texas having to play against Texas A&M in the next week, and they lose the big game. That's a rivalry game, of course, and if we lose that one, it's going to be devastating because then it's going to be like all the talks about the SEC is, and then you're going to see all these Big Ten teams. That's my biggest fear. I just don't want to see it littered with Big Ten teams. Indiana did lose to Ohio State, got smacked. So I know a couple of friends are happy to hear that and everything. I was actually hoping Indiana would at least put up a little bit more of a fight, but it is what it is on that one. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully the Vikings pull through a divisional rivalry. And besides that, I'll have some good stuff this weekend. Right, everybody? Yeah.